Hey, what's going on? It's Bill Burr, and it's time for the Monday Morning Podcast for Monday, May 11th, 2026. What's going on? How are ya? How's it going? Geez, old Billy fucking late face this week. My apologies. For some reason, I thought I was, I don't know. I thought I was traveling on a different day. Turns out I wasn't. Anyway, I am in Atlanta. Hotlanta, as some people call it. ATL, the A. It's got a whole bunch of nicknames and a whole bunch of baseball stadiums. And goddamn it, one of these ones is going to be the ones that the fucking Atlanta Braves fans will be like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm going to a game. No, I get it. Shit is expensive out there. Shit is expensive out there with all these cunts taking all the fucking money. Anyway, speaking of which, I went to, well, first of all, let's talk about the flight. Every time I get on a plane, there's one person that has to have the fucking window up because they're claustrophobic. For some reason, like looking out that plastic window where you would, if you were out there, you would obviously fall to your death. Slash maybe get sucked into one of our engines, you know? Like, I don't understand. I don't know. I have my issues or whatever. And, you know that sort of shareable window? She put that one up, too. And I wanted to be like, how come you get to fucking decide? You know? Then I was going to bring it. And then you get older. And you just think better of it. It's like, I'm going to put it down. Then she's going to put it back up. Then I'm going to put it down. And then next thing you know, I'm in a fucking Instagram video getting escorted off the plane. Because she's going to cry and say she doesn't feel safe. I did fantasize that, like, for some reason I put it down and you can't put it back up again. You know? And then what would she do? Just keep yanking on it. And I would get what? Some sort of pleasure out of that? Because what? I'm not in a good mood? Is that what it is? I don't know. You know what I did? I just put the hoodie up. I put the food tray out. And, you know, and everything on a fucking plane is just beyond where you would be comfortable. You know, like if you tried to lean your head to go to sleep against, you know, near the window, it's just far enough that it stretches your fucking neck and it hurts. And then if you go, okay, I'm going to put my head down on the desk. You know, like when your first grade teacher said, we need quiet time, we got to settle down the class. And they used to always have us put our heads down on the desk. It's just too fucking close to you that you can't do that. So then you got to hit it at an angle. I just did that, and I put the hoodie up. I had a nice nap. No crazy dreams, no drooling on myself, no fucking jerking around, having some sort of flashback. I had a nice goddamn nap, and I've gotten into this book I've been reading, even though I lost my glasses, you know. There's a bad joke in there about you losing your glasses. I needed my glasses. Right? I'm reading this book called A Short History of Nearly Everything. And I never was interested in space. I was just like, there's nothing out there. And even if there is, you know, I don't understand what it is. I don't want to meet it. I have no desire. You know, I've traveled enough and I've met enough people that I wished I didn't meet. I don't need to meet, like, you know. But, you know, if we live long enough, which I don't think we're going to, civilization, humanity, the way we're fucking over this planet, if we lived long enough, the dumbasses at the top, the delusional fucking lunatics at the top would continue to reach out. You know, they would continue to reach out into space. And then eventually someone would be like, all right, we'll come here and fucking enslave you. And then once we realized what would happen, all of the fucking leaders, they would just take cyanide pills, kill themselves, and then just leave us to deal with whatever they said what's up to. You know, it's like we're driving by in a car in space and they're going, "You fucking pussy," and then they and then you're left. They turn and they look at you. That, you know what? I feel like that's every country. That's our country's foreign policy. Is you got these fucking assholes at the top and they keep doing this shit to other countries, and then when the country turns and looks, it's just some fucking regular person that now has to fight for whatever the fucking suit said. Bill, that's not an original idea. No, it isn't. You're right. You're right. It's not. It's not. I'd like to think that I added the car element to it to give you exactly what you've heard before. So anyways, I read this book, The Entire Flight. Finally starting to kind of understand what E equals MC squared means. It was saying that energy and mass were equal and that mass just had to be activated into energy. It was sort of resting. And it was mass time, 2 times the speed of light squared. I still don't quite understand that. But I do understand the concept that you can't get rid of matter. It can only change form. Like if there's a chair right over there. Look at it, the goddamn thing. If I lit that thing on fire, then it just becomes ash, but it's still the same, whatever the fuck. It's just changed form. Ah, Jesus, Bill, why would you do this? You just read this. What is this, a podcast? Would you just read something and now you're going to talk like you're an authority on it? Absolutely. I don't know, but it was kind of exciting. And then starting to understand Einstein's like concept of time. Like they were saying, like if you fly in an airplane, a jet or whatever, and you land, you're like 0.000, like a zillion zeros, hundreds of millionths of a fucking second younger than you would have been if you didn't. And it was like, oh, so now I get all those sci-fi movies where the people would travel at the speed of light to go somewhere, and then they would come back, and everybody they knew was dead or they were old, because you were aging at a different. I don't know. I still don't quite understand, but it's like that shit. You know, like that shit Neil deGrasse Tyson talks about to a fucking moron like me, so he can seem like Einstein adjacent. He's always talking to some moron like me, and I'm like, oh, is that how gravity works? God bless Neil deGrasse Tyson. I feel like he's doing a lot of what public schools no longer do. He's sort of like, you know how like Dr. Phil is like the United States like therapy. I can't afford therapy, so I'm going to watch Dr. Phil say obvious shit to other people. You need to stop doing heroin, right? He does that. And then Neil deGrasse Tyson explains shit that, back when we had a good free educational system here, grades 1 through 12. I'm not saying everybody learned it, because I didn't when I was coming up. I just, you heard me try to explain it all these years later. I still can't, right? So, but it was for the people. That's the smarty pants. No, let's not be negative. For intelligent people in that field to then go work for the reptiles to create weapons, as they created rumors that countries that aren't doing shit to us are dangerous, so that they could then drop bombs on them, so they could get whatever whatever matter that they wanted out of the fucking ground, or the strategic position. It's really interesting. Interesting stuff. So I highly recommend this book if you're a dummy like me and you just kind of want to, like, because I never understood why space was cool. I'm like, there's nothing out there, dude. It's vast. And if there is something out there, I don't think you want to meet it. I don't know. And now they just sort of casually, out of nowhere, just went like, yeah, aliens do exist. I wonder what sort of sit down they had to have with like the 4 families of the major religions, out there. Something, I think that's a good, That's a positive thing about today, is that they could come out and say, you know what, aliens do exist, and nobody got burned at a stake or beheaded or anything by the Vatican. You know? I don't know. They have their own legal issues at this point. Understatement. Anyway, so I had an amazing weekend with my kids. I took them to my son to his first baseball game. My daughter's been to some Red Sox games, but it was both of their first Dodgers games. And I got to tell you, as annoying as, you got to, I have the MLB app, but then I had to download the baseball park app, and then they want another fucking phone number and all of this fucking shit. And all of this stress of like, can you just have a will call fucking thing and I'll just pick up the tickets, right? And then I got to make sure my phone is charged, because my phone isn't charged, then I can't open the fucking thing. And, and I got like the iPhone 13 Plus, not bragging, and my Lightning thing is starting to not work anymore. So I had to make sure that was fully charged. And then I get there, I see parking is $45. So I have 45 on the nose. They don't accept cash. They want the credit card to tie it to your phone number so they know where the fuck you are, right? So then I get out there, right? And my kids are seeing the ballpark, and they're all excited and everything. And there's something weird about the Rose Bowl and Dodger Stadium is they don't give a fuck if you ever find your car again. They just don't. Like, I walked, I swear to God, an eighth of a mile before I saw like a balloon or something that said, or a big round thing that said 4. So I'm like, number 4, Bobby Orr, and I was like, I'm 4 lanes in, but I didn't realize how far I had walked. But anyways, we're walking towards the stadium, and just, despite all of that bullshit, it was still, I think, my favorite thing I've ever done with my kids is take them to a baseball game. And we went down, we were walking along, and they were looking at the park, and we were figuring out how to get in. And my kids were saying what they wanted from concessions and all that. We got to, we met the mascot. They were, checking out the food. They wanted, candy or something. And it's like, I don't know if they have candy here. They might have, an ice cream in that little plastic helmet thing. And they wanted a Dodger dog. My daughter wanted a pretzel, and I made this whole food run. And, I think I did it. I think I got okay, before we sat down, before the game started, I got the burger, I got the hot dogs and the pretzel. And my kids were psyched. And, my son wore his baseball pants that he has. He wanted baseball pants because his sister plays baseball. And he wanted to get some too, and he wanted to get a belt. And he's a real mimic too. When I play catch with him, he was catching the ball and then he was sort of working the ball. He was trying to doctor it, he was going to throw a screwball to me or something like that. And he loves to slide when he hits the ball and all of that type of stuff. So he was locked in, ready to go. So I brought the food back. And then, of course, immediately, they want ice cream. And, now it's the bottom of the first, and Ohtani's leading off. And I'm like, no, I want to watch his at-bat. So I watched his at-bat. I watched Freddie Freeman. And then I went up and I got the ice cream, right? So now they're eating the ice cream. The sun's going down. And it's literally the top of the second inning. And my daughter's already going I don't want to go with my brother because he's going to want to leave. And I want to see the whole game. So I'm like, well, when you were little, you also wanted to leave. So we'll try to hang in there for 6 innings, right? So we get to the top of the second. My son is eating the ice cream. So is my daughter. The wind is starting to blow off the ocean coming in, or I guess heading out to sea, because now the ground is cooling. It's becoming cooler than the water, right? Which creates high pressure. High pressure goes to low pressure. So, yeah, I got a pilot's license, right? So anyways, we're getting the breeze going back towards the ocean, right? And my son's eating ice cream, and his teeth start chattering. So he goes, Dad, I'm cold. And he's wearing a jacket. But, he's eating the fucking ice cream. So I give him my sweatshirt. Now he's psyched. And then he finishes ice cream. And then he looks at me like we're maybe 1 out into the top of the second inning. And he goes, Dad. And I go, what? He goes, I kind of want to leave. And I just looked at him. I'm like, dude, we just walked like half a mile from section 4 in the parking lot to get all the way to the other side to get on the first base line. Yeah, we're not leaving. You got to hang in there. And he's like, oh, wait. And we ended up staying. We stayed for the whole game. And one of the Dodgers pitchers, like, I think he was a lefty. He was like rehabbing. He let up 5 runs and shit. And they gave him like, they just were like, this guy's staying in for 3 innings no matter what, I feel. And then this guy in the Braves, though, like, was throwing like a 1-hit shutout, and they took him out in the 7th inning. But anyway, just the whole experience, like sitting there with my kids for like 3 hours, no phones, talking, eating that food, watching the game. My daughter's, keeping score and all of that. Well, we didn't get the scorecard thing, but each play I would ask her what happened. So she was verbally telling me, how to score it. And the one that always screwed it up was a double play when it was second to short to first. 4-6-3 instead of 6-4-3. But then we sang Take Me Out to the Ball Game. And then, of course, we go to leave, and I'm like, section 4, right? We walk around, ran into a motorcycle cop. It was totally cool. My son got to sit on the bike. Took a great picture, and then we go all the way up, and I get to section 4, and I can't find the fucking car. I didn't realize how far up it went. I was thinking that's got to be section 3 or section 5 up there. It just isn't. They just got this number 4, and it's like a quarter of a mile. I'm just like, good luck. And what I noticed is when you walk out of Dodger Stadium, all you hear is cars like beeping, like the alarms, and it's people setting off their alarms so they can find their fucking cars. It's like part of the experience of leaving. But anyway, I just, so many thoughts went through my head as I was sitting there watching that game, thinking like first of all, my parents in the late 70s went out there and took a tour of the stadium and went to the game. And that was when like Dusty Baker, Ron Say, Davey Lopes, rest his soul, Bill Russell, Steve Yeager, Steve Garvey, that whole team was on. They went to a game in the late 70s. They came back with like, magnets and all of that shit. And I remember in 77, 78, rooting for the Dodgers because the Red Sox couldn't beat the Yankees. Of course, the Yankees won. And then seeing them beat the Yankees in 81 with Fernando Valenzuela, that whole team. And those memories. And then the first time I went to a game there, I went in like 1995 when like Mike Piazza was just starting to establish himself as not only one of the best, the best like hitting catchers since like maybe Johnny Bench, hitting all those home runs and shit. And I think he hit a home run that night. I got the hiccups. And I was thinking, I sat up in the upper deck. Did I ever think all these years later I would be here with my 2 beautiful kids watching this game? And oh my God, I love the whole experience. I was like, I got to do this a couple of times a year, without a doubt. As much as I don't like what the Dodgers are doing, I mean, I can only complain so much because the Yankees did it and then the Red Sox did it, but like, it's just completely out of control. I mean, the first guy comes to the plate and they're already $750 million in the hole with what they're paying the guy. It's just like, all right. I don't think, I don't know. But then you look at it, it's like the Texas Rangers have won one. There's some smaller, I don't know. The whole thing is, it's all weird. I just try to watch. Condolences to the city of Philadelphia. I was where you are is where I was a week ago. Your basketball and your hockey team lost within like a fucking like 2 days of each other. Anyway, you know, as much as people don't think I don't like Philly because of that stupid show a long time ago, which was actually across the way in New Jersey, I've always liked that city as far as like, you know, I'm a huge fan of the early 80s Philadelphia 76ers as much as they were our rival. I actually enjoyed those series more so than Celtics versus Lakers, and I'm still waiting for that. And I don't know if they ever did a 30 for 30 about the Celtics 76ers early 80s rivalry or those, or maybe just do one on that 83 team. But anyway, and then also I just landed there when I did Atlantic City, and a friend of mine recommended, you know, where to go and get a cheesesteak. I don't know. There's a lot about Philly that reminds me of Boston or whatever. It's, you know, kind of same size city and like those fucking killer mom and pop places to get food and shit. So anyway, what is it? Carolina moves on. 4-game sweep. Wow, they got swept and how about the Knicks? Just coming in and sweeping the fucking Sixers. They must have been like just looking at themselves in the mirror when they won that game against the Celtics. Did that go 7? I don't even know. I told you, I watch, once the Bruins get knocked out of the playoffs, that's when I switch over and watch the Celtics. And, you know, there was no time for that this year. So anyway, what else? Oh, MotoGP. I was able to watch the race. Amazing. How about the Aprilas? Is that how you say it? Going 1, 2, 3, and then Marc Marquez. Jesus Christ, high-siding in the sprint. Broke one. It's just one metatarsal. He didn't like fuck up his foot too bad, but it's just one bone in his foot, and then he had that problem with his shoulder where the screws. I don't know. Somebody. In a turn or something, the bike hit his shoulder blade, and he'd already had repair on that shoulder blade, I think. I don't know. And knocked the screws loose. So he got both of those operations, and then he's going to come back, hopefully as good as ever, and then just ride like a maniac, and we can have a great rest of the season. But I don't know. It was a fantastic race. I only saw highlights of the sprint, and I don't know. I know that there's been some gaps in the schedule this year because of us going over there. I don't know what the fuck. It was just something about, I'm assuming it was us. One of our wars got in the way. I don't know. It's crazy. Anyway, I watched a little bit of that. And what else did I want to talk about? I think that was all I did this week. Oh fuck! You know what? I did that night at Too Many Stars at the Hollywood Bowl, and the night before I got to work with Dave Chappelle, and I had 2 of my best sets of the year. I was really happy because there was a ton of people at those shows, and night at Too Many Stars, I got to watch so many people that I'm a fan of, and I got there a little late, and I missed like. Conan played guitar and Jon Stewart played drums at the Hollywood Bowl, which how fucking cool is that? They did like a White Stripes song, and I think they changed like the lyrics. But I don't know. Thank you to Robert Smigel for putting that whole thing together. I got to run into so many friends and meet so many people I hadn't met before, and my set at the Hollywood Bowl was one of my favorites that I've had in a long time. It was just perfect. I came out. I didn't know what I was going to say. I just reacted to whatever the fuck was going on. And then somehow I was talking about Ted Turner. And it's just like, there we go. That's how you do it. Anyway, let's get into the advertising here for the week. Oh, look who it is, everybody. It's him. Erectile dysfunction doesn't mean your love life is over. It means it's just getting started with personalized treatment. I thought they were going to talk about where you become like a player coach You know, you can put me in if you want to, but I'm going to I'll be out here watching the game. Coaching the game. It means just getting started with the personalized treatment options to help you take back control and a spontaneity thanks to daily meds. Through HIMS, you can access personalized prescription treatment options for erectile dysfunction. If prescribed, HIMS offers access to erectile dysfunction treatment options ranging from personalized products to trusted generics that cost 95% less than brand names if prescribed. This isn't one-size-fits-all care that forgets you in the waiting room. It's your health and goals put first with real medical providers making sure you get what you need to get the results. Look at my cock. Think of HIMS as your digital front door that gets you back to your old self and simple. Dude, what if they come up with a pill to make your dick bigger? You know? And then the arms race starts. Because then the dude with the big dick, it's like Barry Bonds was the best fucking guy, and then everybody cheated and took steroids. Then he had to take steroids. Oh, Jesus Christ. Someone's at the door. Hang on. Don't understand. I still don't quite understand what turn down service is. That's when they just come back to your room again for some reason. Going, do you want some of this? Do you want? No, dude, I'm good. I'm good. You fucking clean the room. What do you think I did in the last few hours? Think I'm an animal? Anyways, if they had like a pill to make your dick bigger, then all these little dick dudes would take the fucking pill. Like Gertrude McFuzz. Remember that story? Where she sees the bird that has more feathers than her, so then she tries to get more feathers. And the next thing you know, she's weighted down by the feathers. That's what would happen. Then all the big dick guys, they would have to take even, to get their dick even bigger so they can still feel special. Right? And then they're like Gertrude McFuzz. Now they can't eat. They're fucking dragging it down the goddamn street. That's going to be crazy. And I'm calling it right now. That's going to happen in my lifetime. The bigger dick pills. And then somebody's going to go with the generic brand. And then what's going to happen? You have this giant dick that's going to fucking curve around back towards you. Like, what do they call that? Or you get like a chicane. Like an S-shaped fucking dick. Like, there'll be some sort of side effect. But let's get back to HIMS. This isn't a one-size-fits-all that forgets you in the waiting room. It's your health and goals put first with real medical providers making sure you get what you need to get the result. Think of HIMS as your digital front door that gets you back to your old self with simple 100% online access to trusted treatment for erectile dysfunction and more, all in one place. To get simple online access to personalized, affordable care for erectile dysfunction, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/Burr. That's hims.com/Burr for your free online visit. hims.com/Burr. Featured products include compound drug products which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. See website for details, restriction, and important safety information. Actual price will depend on the product and subscription plans. And plus, you can't have your cake and eat it. So if all of a sudden you had to take a pill to get a bigger dick, there'd be a side effect. Like, what would happen? What would happen? You'd sprain your taint, carrying all that extra, because your skeletal system wasn't ready to, it's a whole fucking thing. All right, and they're working on it. They're working on it right now. This is what people do in bars. They just make up technology that isn't even out there. They're fucking, dude, I'm telling you. My brother's in the military. He saw it. They're working on it right now. Fast-growing trees. Did you know that Fast-Growing Trees is America's largest and most trusted online nursery with thousands of trees and plants and over 2 million happy customers? How the fuck would I know that? How the fuck would anybody know that? They have all... That's got to be the fucking most random question. There's an opening line for you fellas. Walk up to a woman in a bar and be like, hey, did you know Fast Growing Trees is America's largest, most trusted online nursery with thousands of trees and plants and over 2 million happy customers? Just have her stare at you like, what? They have all your plants. They have all the plants your yard or home needs. You got any weed? It's legal now. Including fruit trees, privacy trees, flowering trees, shrubs, and houseplants, all grown with care and guaranteed to arrive healthy. You're not yelling at the plants before you bring them here. They're not like rescue dogs. You don't need a big yard or a lot of space. You can grow lemon, avocado, olive, or fig trees indoors. That is insane to me. Along with a wide variety of household plants, all grown with care and hand-selected to thrive in your home. Wait a minute. You got to put a fucking scarecrow in your house then? Get all the plants you need without the messy car or the trip to the garden. So imagine if you forgot you put the fucking thing in there. You come downstairs, you ate a gummy, and all of a sudden there's this fucking thing standing there. You get all freaked out, right? You grab your shoddy and you fucking, and then fuck, you look at that. I was too high to remember I had a scarecrow in the house. Took out the fucking scarecrow in a bay window. Get all the plants you need without the messy car or the trip to the garden center. Right now, they have a great deal on spring planting essentials, up to half off on selected plants. And listeners to our show get 20% off their first purchase when using the code Burr at checkout. That's an additional 20% off. Better plants and better growing at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code Burr at checkout, fastgrowingtrees.com/Burr. And if you're a doomsdayer, you know what I mean? If you got that fucking underground shelter, if you can grow those fuckers inside, you can grow them underground, right? You're down there eating avocados and figs, just riding out the apocalypse. Something to think about. Now's the perfect time to plant. Let's grow together. Use Burr to save today. Offer is valid, for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply. Not saying they don't, but they might. It's nice and vague. All right, everybody, it's Simply Safe. Look, we all want to feel safe at home. But for a long time, home security has been expensive monthly fees and ironclad contracts that locked you in for years. No drilling, no stress, no waiting around for a service appointment. Comprehensive protection. It's not just a camera, it's a comprehensive ecosystem of sensors, cameras for inside and out, and 24/7 professional monitoring in the event of a break-in, fire, or flood. Simply Safe agents are ready to take action. Affordable pricing, 24/7 monitoring for a fraction of what the traditional brands charge. I want you to experience the same peace of mind I do, which is why I've partnered with Simply Safe to offer an exclusive discount to my listeners. Right now, dude, that would be great. Like, what if you knew the person breaking in to your house or your apartment was homophobic? And instead of an alarm, you just had some guy going, "Hey, sailor, come on in." All right, just scares him away. No? I'm just trying to find something, difficult economic times. I'm thinking maybe there's a way. There's a cheaper way to defend your house. Right now, you can get 50% off your first new system by visiting simplysafe.com/Burr. That's half off at simplysafe.com/Burr. Hey, there's no safe like Simply Safe. All right, let's get into the reads, man. Anyways, I've continued to watch the NHL playoffs. Montreal Canadiens up 2-1 against the Buffalo Sabres. We'll see. They have the fan base to will them past that team, but I feel like Buffalo has the better coach. I don't know, but Montreal look fucking good. 6-1 drubbing of the Buffalo Sabres. And then for some reason, I watched that one, and then I end up catching some of the Ducks Vancouver, which has been a great one, too. The Mighty Ones, up 2-1. Who knew? I didn't know they were that good. They're right down the street from me in L.A. Still not a fan of those fucking uniforms. Those uniforms, oof. That's a lot of orange. And a little bit of orange goes a long way. Goes a long fucking way. All right, Spirit Airlines. Hey, Billy, no news. You recently read a listener's response to Spirit going out of business, and in that letter, it implied that a senator and a judge were responsible for the airline shutting down. And while I acknowledge those things did happen, it was greed that killed Spirit. All right, this is interesting to me. Frontier offered to buy Spirit first. And since their routes don't really overlap, it may have been a benefit for both airlines. JetBlue came in with a higher offer. And what the fuck was Spirit doing? Were they just selling to make money for the people at the top? JetBlue came in with a higher offer, and shareholders being shareholders said we want the JetBlue offer.
I want to know, I actually looked this up. There's all different kinds of shareholders. Because I can tell you right now, if I had stock in Spirit Airlines, I don't know when I get the email to see, hey, Bill, you know, we noticed you have $20 in Spirit Airline stock, and we were going to sell the Frontier, but now JetBlue came in. And instead of making $25, you can make $27. You know? Or even if they do send me that email, they don't listen to somebody. Like, they're just listening to the big dogs. That's what they act like it's everybody in the stock market. It isn't. I saw like 1% of the fucking population owns 90% of the stock market. How fucking insane is that? And the rest of us own whatever the fuck we own, right? So it's those big dogs saying what they're saying. I don't know. It's insane. JetBlue said they were going, shareholders said we want the JetBlue offer. Now, JetBlue and Spirit share a lot of the same routes. JetBlue said they were going to pull seats out of Spirit planes and jack up prices. No, to make it a less cramped plane. The Spirit CEO backed up this claim on TV when the offer was made, which is illegal, and why he knew the deal would be struck down, which he also said on TV. And the why... Okay, I'm lost here. And why the government did strike it down. Okay, the Spirit CEO backed up this claim on TV when the offer was made, which is illegal, and why the government did. So you can't say what the offer is? Is that what you're saying? The government was enforcing the law. JetBlue hasn't had a profit since 2019, is billions in debt. Aren't they all in debt? There's no money in aviation. And many believe that if the merger had gone through, both airlines would have gone under. The JetBlue founder has said he thinks with the amount of debt and the recent doubling of airplane fuel, it might go under, much like Spirit did. But I digress. Yeah. How come, you know, remember when that guy at the beginning of the pandemic was who hoarded all the hand sanitizer was price gouging? And both networks, both Fox and CNN, were fucking just tar and feathering that guy verbally. How come they don't go after these oil companies? You know, with price gouging with this gas that it's like $7 a fucking gallon out here in LA. Like, how come you're allowed to do that? You didn't buy it at a higher price. You just can't get any more. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. It's like you're not going to get any more, so you don't want to lose any money, so then you pass it on to the working man. They just keep doing this shit. Dude, I looked up this whole thing. Like, CEOs are having crazy amounts of security now. And it says, here's why they're getting more security. And it said, where the threat was always there, it's now much realer than it was before. They said that's what the reason was. That's not the reason. The reason is their greed is so out of control that they're going to cause somebody, you know, they're worried that some lunatic is going to go postal. So it's like, well, why don't you fucking open the spigot and give people some money? Like, how much, like, if you're making money at that fucking level, but you got to walk around with that level of security, is is it worth it? These people are fucking nuts. Like, I just can't imagine. Like, why don't you want other people to be able to get a sandwich and fill up their tank and go to a fucking ball game? The middle class, I really don't. The middle class is not asking for much, and I'm really sick of this fucking AI shit. Always trying to put middle class people out of business. Why don't you put these fucking make an AI CEO? That's where all your expenses are. It's all so simple to me. All right, after the merger was struck down, Frontier offered to merge again. The Spirit CEO said no. The executives collected $5.4 million. Wait, if they didn't merge with anybody, how did they make money? The CEO responsible for the 3.8 million of that. And we know what happened to the airline. As Paul Harvey would say, and now you know the rest of the story. Okay, after the merger was struck down, Frontier offered to merge again. Spirit CEO said no. The executives collected $5.4 million. For what? Saying no? The CEO responsible for $3.8 million of that, and we know what happened. So the airline went under, and these guys still paid themselves all that money, and then the stockholders can go fuck themselves? All right, here's my question. Let's see. Wait. And I want to continue this conversation. So, what was Frontier offering to buy Spirit for, and what was JetBlue? And what is the value of the company? And if the company goes out of business, what happens to that value? It goes down to zero, but right before it goes down to zero, these guys just go into whatever they have in the vault and they just put it in their pockets and then they leave. And then everybody who had stock in Spirit, like that money that you had, you lost and it went into two people's pocket. Oh, this one guy's pocket. Is that what happens? I don't know. You say now you know the rest of the story. Now I have a bunch of fucking questions is what I have. If somebody could just write in and explain that to the layman, I would appreciate it. All right, Delta Snacks. Sir William Firecrotch. I like that, man. I feel like lighting my pubes on fire and launching them with one of those medieval things towards a castle. I'm writing to add to last week's comment on Spirit bankruptcy. In the same week they filed for bankruptcy, Delta cut snacks from their flights. Coincidence? I don't know, man. I didn't know Spirit and Delta were down like that. The airlines have also used dynamic pricing for decades to boost fares. Frequent flyers pay more on their app, and discount sites lose seats when overbooked. And they're charging for bags only increased wait times at security checkpoints. Well, you have to, like, it all trickles down. So if all of a sudden, you know, we're in a conflict with Iran, the price of fuel, once the price of fuel goes up, everything goes up. It's going to be interesting in the future if they go to like electric planes. Like, then what will they use? There'll be something else. There'll be some battle for whatever the natural resource is for that. I don't know. I don't know. This has happened before. There was a robber baron era in the fucking 1800s, into the early 1900s, and the common man. I mean, people had to die though. They had to fucking die to get unions and wages and all of that stuff straightened out. But I don't know. I don't know about this one. This is an interesting one because they have all of this technology. It's kind of fascinating. Like I feel like this is sort of the Dr. Evil generation. These nerds, like they are creating technology where I feel like within like 20 years it would actually be possible for a small group of people to fucking run the whole world. Because before the revolution started, they could just shut it down. They could shut off your car, turn off your phone, which has all your money. You know? This is my prediction. In the future, there's going to be a new language invented or attempted to, so people can talk about rebellion without having a robot come and kill them. Oh, Jesus, Bill, you're going off the fucking rails here. Am I, though? Am I, though? I like saying that because you don't have to defend your point. What you do is you're defending your point by asking somebody a question and you didn't give any evidence. You're going off the rails, Bill. Am I, though? And then for some reason, the other person feels, well, yeah, you're saying that you should just stop. Am I, though? Yes. What about what I just said did you not understand? Anyway, L.A. homelessness. Hey, Bill, lifelong Angelino here. My family came here from Mexico in the early 60s and found success in the restaurant business. I would love to talk to you about what Los Angeles was like in the 1960s. There is so little information about the history of that amazing city. Anyway, I never lived anywhere else. My opinion is that someone who cares about their city, my opinion is that of someone who cares about their city, not someone being negative for the sake of being negative. I'd like to add some clarity to your view that people who are blaming the city for homelessness is unwarranted. I'd like to share a few things to consider. Governor Pat Brown in the 70s, followed by Ronald Reagan, who often gets the most blame, began to redirect funding away from state hospitals. Oh, yeah. That's happened in every state, though. Yeah, they closed down the insane asylums. The effect wasn't that drastic at the time, but the precedent it set was. The state has never been fully engaged in rehabilitating or institutionalizing people that qualify for it. The waves of street drug arrests would often absorb some of those who are not criminals. Oh, yeah, and the CIA also brought drugs into this country. It's all fucking, I don't know. But mentally incapable. Okay, let me just read this and just stop with my uninformed narrative. The waves of street drug arrest would often absorb some of those who were not criminals but mentally incapable of taking care of themselves. This saw the mid to late 90s show some sign of improvement. However, not an honest attempt at making conditions better on the street or helping those in need. The biggest issue facing Los Angeles today is that for the last 20 years, they have refused to arrest those in the street encampments who are engaging in drug use and sales. There are many other problems as well: rape, molestation, violence, and physical abuse, to name a few. As a former pit owner, you may be aware of Rebecca Corey, yes, a pit bull rescue champion. She is currently suing the city for their refusal to help break up encampments where dogs are being bred, abused, and even raped. She has provided evidence and documentations on all of these claims. All right, well, what I'm hoping is you're going to get to the point of how do all of these people become homeless? Foregoing, I don't think everyone out there is a nut job. Foregoing everyone's ego on the issue, i.e., how it makes them feel driving down the street and every other superficial reaction, I believe the biggest issue is children. Areas around schools are not safe. Drug addicts are defecating and exposing themselves on the street in school zones, as is documented by parent groups like the one my wife belongs to. It is a group of parents from our children's school who try and bridge the school with community awareness. They raise money for kids who can't afford lunch and make sure they're getting enough help with education. See, that's fucking great. That's what we need politicians to be doing. To bring it all back to my initial point, the city has spent $5 billion in the last 5 years to end homelessness, in quotes. They have mismanaged funds, spending tens of millions on projects that never get finished. I know, it's all corrupt. There are 65,000 homeless people in LA County. That means each could have received $1 million a year in the last 5 years, and the city would still have spent less. Isn't that insane? Also, our children's schools shouldn't be short on books, and school lunches should be far better if there is money to waste like that. I know. This goes back to, like, the deregulation of capitalism, the Federal Reserve, all of this. All of this money is with 1% of the population. And then they just have politicians go, oh, it was the red tie guys. It was the blue tie guys. And it's like, it's the people behind them. Anyway, we used to do a benefit. And it was one of the hardest things I ever did. I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to do a benefit for the public school in my neighborhood. I'm just going to adopt a school. And once a year, I'm going to do this big fucking show, raise a bunch of money. And you couldn't give them the money. You couldn't do it. You had to, it had to go to the general fund in the major center, and then they would determine what school needed what. So you couldn't even do that. So all we could do is just get, supplies. Supplies you could just bring directly to the school, which is still an important thing, but I don't know. It always has to go through somebody else and then they fucking steal it. That happens in every goddamn business. It passes through some other entity. Do you know all that money they raised for the Pacific Palisades? $700 million. They can't even account to where the fuck it went. Can you imagine that? Just like watching all of those people in Altadena and the Pacific Palisades losing everything. And you look at it as like, you know what? I'm going to get a bunch of fucking people, good-hearted people, to send me money to go to those people, and I'm going to keep it. That's fucking wild. All right, lastly, my own personal experience includes a cousin who fell into drugs and is now dead. Sorry to hear that, dude. He would go missing for weeks at a time. My aunt and uncle drove around at night looking for him because during the day he would just be sleeping somewhere. So at night was the only time they could find him. Oh, my God, those poor parents. The city would not help detain him so that we could get him treatment. If he was arrested with drugs, they would let him out after a few days and not transport him to rehab due to the city's hands-off policy. Prison is far more humane than dying on a street. Yeah, I mean, this isn't a genius thought here, but I would say the system is busted. It's broken at this point, and it needs to be fixed. Like, just, I don't know, man. Like, if we could just get back, the very least, to the public schools being a safe place, books, hot meals. I mean, what kind of, I mean, I would love my tax dollars to go to that, towards, and instead of more false flag fucking wars to make a few people a lot of money and bring misery around the world and make a whole other country want to come over here and fuck us up. Like, I don't know how long we're going to keep playing this game, but it's wildly out of control. But I don't know. Thank you for all of that insight. Yeah, in my lifetime, I remember they started shutting down insane asylums, whatever the fuck, nut houses, whatever they used to fucking call them. But I'll be honest, those things weren't good either. The amount of abuse that went on, the kinds of people that gravitated there to help them out, there was some good people and there was some fucking pieces of shit. I don't know. And then you just start thinking and thinking and thinking, and then you just start thinking about, why does God make people like that? Why does he make greedy people? Why does he make predators? Why does he make someone who's going to fuck a dog? I mean, what the fuck is going on out there? Anyway, but I can't say, I do still stand by this whole fucking thing that has happened, I think, with the Ted Turners and the Rupert Murdochs, what they did to this country, dividing it right down the middle, that now people like root against the state of California and get some sort of perverse joy by watching all those people suffering in downtown LA. Like, see, that's what happens when you get a liberal, you know, like that dumb shit. Like, that is the fucking reason. And it's like, I go to all the states, I've been to all of them, and I see incredible amounts of like just people suffering that don't need to suffer. There's plenty of money, there's plenty of food, there's plenty of places to live, and these fucking assholes at the top just keep making the herd run scared, and then they tell you who to, you know, they always point the finger at somebody else. I think everybody's cool. I'm weird. I like all 50 states. I think the average person is pretty fucking cool. I don't think, you know, there's assholes everywhere, but, you know, I don't buy into nationalism. I don't buy into fucking political parties. I don't buy into racism. I don't buy into any of that. Don't buy into all of that shit. It works against the 99% looking up at the 1%. None of this is fucking new information, but I don't know. I wish there was a way to stop all of that shit. I don't know what it is. Jesus Christ, do I end the fucking podcast on this? Anyway, I am in Atlanta, another great city, and I'm doing 3 shows at the Tabernacle, one of my favorite fucking venues. I told you on this tour, I wanted to go back to these places that do multiple nights rather than coming here.
I mean, I usually come in, I do the Fox. I mean, that's a fucking great venue, but I got a drum kit set up because I got a benefit I'm doing when I go back to LA, and we're going to play some songs after. I got 4 songs I have to learn, and each one of them has a little tricky part that I got to figure out. And, you know, I'm going to go there during the day and just fucking wail for like 2 hours. Good, clean fun. Not hurt anybody, you know. I want to thank everybody that's coming out to my shows. And then I'm down in Florida after that. I know this is a brutal, brutal fucking economic time. So the fact that anybody would still give a shit to come out and hear me do my jokes, I really appreciate it. And with that, that is the end of the podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. Go fuck yourselves, and I will check in on you on Thursday. I'll let you know how the shows go. The shows go here in Atlanta. All right, see you.